Thank you. Good morning. It is always great to be back home from Washington, but also especially great to be here amongst friends and here in Jefferson County. We have some of the most wonderful resources, scenery, institutions like Jefferson College here today, and the people that make this a great place to live and raise a family and work. So it's especially great to be here. Thank you, Mayor Rowland, Commissioners, Banks, Lamping, thank you for your introduction. Kemp, several of our state legislators are here. They've been introduced. Other officials, thank you for coming out here today, joining us, and to those who are joining us by radio, the internet, and JCTV. 2 years ago, I came to this very campus, spoke about my vision for Missouri's 3rd Congressional District. It was based on a great conversation that I'd had with thousands of people across this district over a 2-year tour. It was based on my beliefs as a Harry Truman, Missouri Democrat, and based on my commitment to work with anyone, any party, anywhere, to get things done for the people that I have the honor to represent in the nation's capital. My goal was to be the best representative that I could be, to take my office to the next level, to provide each of you with the representative government that you can be proud of. We started, number one, with being accessible. Because to be the best representative you can be, you have to be accessible, you have to listen, and you have to learn. So what we did, we opened up, and I committed to a full-time, fully staffed office in Jefferson County. We committed to do dozens of forums across the district to understand the needs of the people here. We recruited, I think, some of the best staff in Congress and have worked with our state and local leaders to build consensus and to set priorities so we can all work and succeed together. Secondly, I sought out leadership positions and key assignments in the Congress. As you can imagine, the U.S. House is made up of 435 members. You can imagine today there's a couple hundred people in this room. You can imagine 435 people in one room trying to work together. Well, as you all know, a lot of work is done in smaller groups in committees. Some of those key committees that I worked hard to get on that I think are vital for Missouri and the times in which we live. Number one, the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. When I came to office, I knew in Jefferson County that transportation was job number one. That transportation has been vital to our history and will be to our future. This area, our region, is a hub for aviation, for highways. We're the confluence of major rivers and rail lines. So I sought out to get a seat on the Aviation Subcommittee and on the Water Resources Subcommittee. Also, I have a seat on the Science and Technology Committee and the Research and Science Education Subcommittee. Our future jobs for individuals, their careers, for businesses, the workforce of tomorrow is going to be based on biotech, going to be based on energy research. Those new technologies that are going to help change our country and our society are going to start with science. We also have to make a high priority to really focus on science education. Because without that, we've seen business leaders around the country, from big companies down to small companies, that have recognized without that workforce of tomorrow, without that skilled workforce, that level of science and engineering and math, we cannot succeed in this global competitive marketplace. And finally, a seat on the Foreign Affairs Committee, which I think in the times in which we live is vital. We've seen American standing around the globe drop to the lowest in recent history. I sit on the subcommittees for international organizations, human rights, and oversight, and the subcommittee for the Middle East, areas where we need a lot of work. I also have worked hard to keep our state and our region in the forefront among leaders in the Congress. You can only succeed if you're one out of 435 members in the Congress if you work together, if you build coalitions. And I've done that across party lines, but we've also invited 10 other members in Congress to come visit our region. From our current leaders, Speaker Pelosi and Majority Leader Hoyer, to experts on healthcare, agriculture, science, and homeland security, so that when we're making national policy, we can connect with what our needs are. And the leaders that are making those policies know it's important around the country, but we can make a case that our region needs to be in the forefront of those issues. Together, we have accomplished much. As the Commissioner mentioned, came to office with a commitment to help turn around the transportation system in this region, in our state. We've been many years without even having a member of the Missouri member on the Transportation Committee in the whole eastern side of Missouri. So there was a real void. And in our region, especially Jefferson County, we had a real need. Highways that were rated among the top 10 most dangerous in the country. So we went to work. We got a seat on the Transportation Committee. We were able to ensure that the money that we put in, our tax dollars, that we got our fair share, and then some, $42 million in specific funding to come back here, almost half of that, which has gone to Jefferson County for improvements to Highway 21 and MM. I also want to say we've worked hard to get authorizations to expand MetroLink. It's going to be key as our region expands to be sure that our region continues to grow, to be sure we can continue to expand that light rail system to help our entire region. We also have gotten funding for projects at West City Park in Festus. We also have worked hard with our law enforcement, many of whom are here today. Saw Sheriff Boyer to help them. They are on the front lines of fighting the meth epidemic that has swept our country, but also has roots in our region. And I want all of us here today to give our law enforcement a big round of applause. We've worked to do our part in the Congress to help them with the tools and the funding they need to succeed. Two key pieces of legislation passed this last Congress: the Combat Meth Act and the Methamphetamine Epidemic Elimination Act, both signed into law by the President in March of 2006. I'm also very pleased that with all of our efforts together, we were able to obtain HIDTA, High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area designation, to help with extra federal funds for this fight. Finally, we've been very active in the energy area. We can't escape the fact that we are dependent on foreign oil. That hurts our economy, that hurts our security. We have to wean ourselves from this dependence. I've taken a lead on energy issues to help with incentives for hybrid vehicles, and worked hard in the last Congress to fight the unnecessary and ridiculous subsidies that were given to the big oil companies, and have also fought in our area rich in history. Many areas here in Jefferson County, and especially down in St. Genevieve, to expand our federal historic tax credit, to build upon the great success we've had with our state historic tax credit, to be sure that we are preserving key buildings and structures for future generations, future economic development and tourism. Well, much has changed from that first Congress, the 109th Congress, when oftentimes the controlling majority greatly limited our ability to advocate or even question policies. Things have turned around. This new Congress has a new majority, and from the very beginning, I think we got an idea of change that was needed and necessary. From the beginning, day one, the new Congress enacted sweeping ethics reforms, the likes of which have not been seen since post-Watergate days. We also took key steps in turning around the growing budget deficit that we've had, that today, on average, is about $28,000 per person in this country. We did so by reinstituting simple pay-as-you-go rules that were instituted in the 90s that led from us going to the biggest surplus in history. When they got rid of those pay-as-you-go rules, we went down to the biggest deficit in history. And sadly, much of that is owed to foreign countries like China and India. Again, that is not in our economic interest. It's not in our national security interest. We also made changes right off the bat to make America safer by adopting the 9/11 Commission recommendations. We've worked very closely with law enforcement and community leaders to do a security assessment across our region. We have some unique threats here, not just as an aviation hub, but our rail infrastructure and our ports. We are the second largest inland port in the United States. By implementing these 9/11 Commission recommendations, we'll see to it that additional help is given for our frontline responders, and also that we do eventually get to 100% screening of air cargo and container shipments. We also increased the minimum wage, which had not been increased for 9 years. We also passed provisions that would allow the government to use its great size and leverage to negotiate lower drug prices. As I mentioned earlier, we ended the almost $15 billion in subsidies that were given to the big oil companies in the last Congress. And we have cut the cost for student loans that at a time when costs are rising quickly. That is what students and their families need. So a lot has been done just in these first 2 months of this Congress. As you can imagine, when a Congress turns over, there are a lot of pent-up ideas, a lot of things that haven't been able to be addressed or taken up in a long time. So there's been a lot of this energy is good. But I want to talk a little bit about what lies ahead in this Congress. One of the key challenges that we have in this country is health care. This year, the Children's Health Insurance Program, or CHIP program, is up for reauthorization. It is vital that we do the right thing in Washington to provide that funding to get to our states. We've seen Missouri and other states at the state level, and I know our state delegation here has fought these cuts to our state Medicaid program. I know Senator McKenna and others have been at the forefront of this fight to stop those hurtful cuts. It is important and vital that we provide for the health care of our children. That is a basic starting point, I think, for any health care debate. We also have unique challenges here. We've seen children's health and fitness decline to the extent where nationwide about a fourth of children are considered in a category of obese. We see almost 30% in the state of Missouri and over a third in Jefferson County. So we have some unique issues in terms of children's health and fitness. It is really outrageous when you see the difference between the state of Illinois, right across our river, and Missouri, where a mother can make 3 times what a mother can make in Missouri and still qualify for health care coverage. It's an important thing that we need to do at the state level and provide the funding at the federal level. We also need to look out for our veterans. And I'm really pleased that several members of my Veterans Advisory panel are here today, and I'd like for them to stand, please. Please give them a hand. I want to thank them for their service to our country, and I want to thank them for their service to me and to my office. To be sure that after our veterans serve and they come home, they get everything they deserve, as well as our country's thanks. And that's to be sure they have the health care they need and the benefits that they've earned. We unfortunately have had several cuts to those programs over the last few years. I will be fighting in this new Congress to be sure that those benefits are not cut and they receive the great thanks of our country. Also, no state of a district or of our country can be discussed without talking about the war in Iraq. We all know now that the information used to go to war with regard to existence of weapons of mass destruction was not correct. We also know that the information suggested at the beginning of the war that Iraq's oil wealth, third largest oil reserves in the world, would be used to rebuild that country and finance it. That also has not come about. Instead, we've been in a prolonged war, longer now than World War II. And the President has asked us to consider an escalation plan, the fourth such escalation of this war. The prior escalations did not work, and I have concerns, as many do, that this proposed so-called surge would not be successful either. It is vital because right now, most military leaders are telling us that our very presence there is fueling the fighting, and that our soldiers are becoming more and more like referees among a civil war. We have to begin to turn over the security and military apparatus there to the Iraqi government. We cannot and we never will be successful in imposing democracy by military force. They only can succeed if they succeed with a political solution among themselves. And that's where America, that has the greatest military might in the world, has to use its other might of principle, of diplomacy, of bringing other countries together to help forge peace in the Middle East. So that, I think, is our charge. And that to tell our troops who have served so well, I've seen our troops that have deployed from here to go to Iraq. I've talked to them on the ground in Iraq. I've talked to them upon their happy returns. And I've pledged to them and their families that I will fight to bring them home safe, sound, and soon. Next week, we will have historic debates on the floor of the Congress. I fly out this afternoon when I finish here today, and we have scheduled debate about the escalation plan for this entire week. And it's an important debate for this country to have. And so please watch that throughout this week. We need to come together as a country to unify, to be sure that we have a clear plan to protect ourselves from terrorists, to keep our homeland safe. I want to close with a quote. I always am fond to quote Thomas Jefferson when I'm in Jefferson County, your namesake. But he said this, and I think it's especially appropriate. He said, in matters of style, swim with the current. In matters of principle, stand like a rock. I want to thank you for the honor to serve as your voice in the U.S. Congress and for standing with me to fight for the common sense principles that matter to us all. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Exceptional education.
Spectacular experience.
The personalization.
It was convenient.
It's a fun atmosphere.
And my personal experience here has just been wonderful.
It just opened up a whole new horizon for our family.
Arnold, High Ridge, and the Hillsborough campus has been very convenient.
I recommend Jefferson College every day to anyone who will ask.
I'm Russ Hilton.
I'm Jan.
I'm Brandon Berger.
I'm Liz Lando, and I'm proud I chose to attend Jefferson College.